Welcome to the Near Memo, a weekly conversation about search, social, and commerce. What happened, why it matters, and the implications for local. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Near Memo. Today with Mike and Greg. David is out and we'll be back next week. And today we will be talking about the Places Sites module that has appeared in Europe on Google's search results pages has apparently come to North America. We'll talk a little bit about that. Plus, it's very early, but it's interesting still to speculate a little bit about AI organized pages, which was announced yesterday formally by Liz Reed, Google Head of Search. We'll be talking about the FTC's enforcement action against a company called Rytr, an AI writing tool that they say could generate thousands and thousands of fake reviews. And we'll also be talking about the story of Allure Aesthetics, which was caught doing review fraud, but many of its reviews are still available online, and there hasn't been really any meaningful penalty from a search or SEO perspective so far. So, did I get that right, Mike? All right.
You got it.
I got the order wrong, though. We'll be talking about Allure Aesthetics and then talk about Rytr at the end. So just Near Media has done a bunch of research, user research, behavioral research in Europe about the effort that Google has made to comply with the Digital Markets Act. And they created a number of new features for the page, principally Places Sites, which shows different directories or aggregators, and it's their effort to direct traffic to some of those people and kind of answer the criticism that they're self-preferencing. There's also other features like refinement chips and a couple of other things, but Places Sites was the primary one, and we found in 3 projects basically.
And this is just for a little bit more context, because people haven't seen it. It
Sure.
is a carousel of aggregators, so top 10 of something or best of something going to the aggregator search results. And it's a carousel that either sits in position 1 or position 2 of the
Typically.
organic results, just below the ads.
Yeah, so we'll put some examples in the show notes. So, for example, in travel, you would get TripAdvisor, Booking.com, and other directories, Trivago, Expedia,
Right.
and clicking on one of those would lead you to essentially a search results page. And the idea is that this is Google's effort to direct traffic to essentially competitors and mitigate or avoid the claim that they're self-preferencing, which is what the DMA is designed to prevent.
Right. One note about the layout is it's an image and the title of the page and the brand, but there are no review stars, and so it's attractive but not compelling, I guess.
Well, it's unevenly attractive too. I mean, they don't all have images. Some of them just have a brand logo, so they're not anywhere near as attractive as in the case of hotels, the Hotel Finder, or local services ads, which do have the Google Guaranteed or Google Screen badges and pictures and reviews and so on. So anyway, Joy Hawkins discovered, I believe, that there were instances of this in Canada and then also in the United States, showing up for different kinds of local queries. And Mike,
mostly restaurants. She's found it, and mostly in Toronto.
And you saw this too with using a VPN, right?
Using a VPN with Toronto, using my Safari on my phone, but set to desktop view, I was able to surface these. So it's kind of an odd setup. So clearly, it's still on a very, very small percentage of devices. And in this one, I think it was restaurants near me was the query, and it showed Yelp and TripAdvisor and other restaurant sites above. In this case, their ads are not common in the restaurant, so it was above the finder, above the local finder.
So as you said, these typically rank in positions 1 or 2, very high on the page, And in our research, we found in three different vertical contexts that they drew very, very little engagement. Sometimes when there's a brand that's familiar to people that's present in one of these squares in the carousel, there is some engagement. For the most part, despite its high ranking position, people don't really interact with it. And so the question is why, the rationale in Europe is clear from Google's perspective, but why is this now coming to North America, or why are they testing it in North America? There have been some noises about DMA like laws against self preferencing in the United States. There's nothing so far that's been proposed that's close to being passed on a state level or a federal level. So, what is your theory, Mike, about why they may be testing these in North America?
Well, I think there's two things, one of which we were going to talk about, and that is this
And
new
we'll do
AI
that right now.
organized
Oh,
search result. I mean, if the
yeah.
organized search result, AI organized search result, is just complete self-preferencing modules that are organized and restaurants is where Google is one of the areas they've noted that they're going to be bringing this out. If it is a complete self-organized with all these visuals that basically bring people back into some other Google search or some other local pack or some other ordering system, whatever they're presented, this may be a move to provide some access to competitive directories by putting the carousel at the top. It also, my other theory was that it's somehow potentially in response to Yelp's lawsuit, where
Antitrust suit.
claiming that local is Google is manipulating their monopoly position in local to benefit their own ads. It could be a way to respond to that, to provide some sort of negotiated settlement or something. Although, as we've seen, it doesn't do anything in the hotels. 1 out of 657 clicks or something
Right.
went to that module.
It's
Very, very
it's
low.
a kind of a compliance performance rather than actual compliance.
Totally the way it's designed. And I think they could change that. They could add review stars or make it about giving single places within Yelp that maybe
Yeah.
meet the search criteria.
Yeah.
But as it stands, it's a pretty lame. Users don't use it, even though it's first.
So just to orient people if they're unfamiliar, at Google I/O this year, Liz Reed, who's the head of search for Google, announced AI organized pages, different from AI overviews. These are pages that the AI system would tailor to the specific query. We've only seen screenshots in the recipe vertical or subvertical, depending on how you think about it. I don't know if they've shown any screens with restaurants. We don't know how different these pages will be, these SERPs from vertical to vertical, but they have the capacity to be quite different from what we've seen today. And so, in a local context, in a local restaurant's context, there might be a lot of different modules that are essentially search refinements, zeroing in on a particular dish, zeroing in on cuisine types, etc. And in the blog post yesterday announcing that this is rolling out in recipes, at least, if not restaurants also, Liz Reed sort of suggested that this might be somehow personalized. I mean, that I'm drawing inferences based on her language, where she says these were organized for you, suggesting some element of personalization. I don't know how that would work. But also, I think the claim was made that these AI organized pages facilitate content discovery or are going to be helpful to publishers. They're going to be beneficial to publishers. That was another suggestion. And Mike, you're saying that, and we talked about this before we started recording, that these could be really keep people within the Google universe. Generate many more searches, ad exposures,
Yeah.
and
So
keep people. Yeah.
right. So they said this to help you explore and discover a wider range of results for the questions that may be open ended. So my thought was that they would have, and you can see this in their vegetarian appetizer ideas, It's a whole range of visual carousels, vertical and horizontal carousels, or vertical lists and horizontal carousels with a lot of imagery that, as you pointed out, would bring people into another search with another visual representation, helping Google better segment the query, understand more about the user intent, and keep people on Google at least for one additional, maybe two additional clicks.
And also
they do say something
generate
with
more
relevant
search
results organized just for you. This speaks to your personalization thinking.
Yeah, and I've lost.
And then while you're thinking about that, let me read this other sentence. You can easily explore content and perspectives from across the web, and including articles, videos, forums, and more, all in one place. Right. In other words, you'll be able to read the articles, watch the videos, without having to leave.
Without clicking through, without going to some third-party site, right?
Right. That's what it says.
Yeah. I mean, I know what I was going to say. So one of David's kind of pet theories is that Google has established an internal KPI of search volume as a measure of their health, the health of search. And if that is true, we speculated that that's true. This would contribute to that, because you would likely see these refinements generating more search volume. So Sundar Pichai and others can point to Google search volume has not decreased; it's grown. So that's a little sort of bit of a conspiracy theory there about this may play into that objective or that KPI.
Thanks for joining David, Mike, and Greg. To stay on top of the latest developments in local, subscribe to our newsletter at nearmedia.co. We'll see you next week.